I need to tell you about the day I destroyed my relationship with my son. He was 14. I was 47. Successful, respected, teaching effectiveness principles to Fortune 500 companies around the world. And I couldn't get my own son to listen to me. We were arguing about his piano practice, again. And I did what every ineffective parent does when they're losing an argument. I pulled rank. I said, "I'm your father. You'll do what I say because I said so." He looked at me, and I'll never forget this. He said, "Dad, you can make me sit at that piano, but you can't make me care." And he walked out of the room. I sat there alone, and I realized something devastating. I had positional power over my son, but I had zero influence with him. And in that moment, I understood why so many leaders, parents, and professionals feel completely powerless despite having all the authority in the world. Because authority and influence are not the same thing. And most people spend their entire lives confusing the two. Let me tell you what happened 2 weeks after that piano incident. A vice president at a Fortune 500 company called me at 2 a.m. His voice was shaking. He said, "Stephen, I'm about to lose everything. My team hates me. My marriage is falling apart. I work 18-hour days and nothing I do matters. I have the title, the salary, the office, but I feel completely powerless." I asked him one question, and the silence on the other end of the phone lasted 30 seconds. I'm going to tell you what that question was, but first, I need you to understand why it changed everything for him. Because if you're feeling powerless right now, if people don't listen to you, don't respect you, don't follow your lead, this question is going to reveal exactly why. Here's what most people believe about influence. They think it comes from above, from titles, from organizational hierarchies, from having authority over other people. And that belief is destroying them. I've worked with thousands of leaders over the past 30 years, CEOs, executives, managers, team leads, and I've watched the same pattern destroy careers over and over again. Someone gets promoted. They get the title they've been working toward for years. Corner office, budget authority, direct reports, all the trappings of power. And then, nothing changes. People still don't listen. Teams still resist. Influence still eludes them. So they do what seems logical. They increase control. More rules, more oversight, more, "I'm the boss, so do what I say." And the more they try to control, the less influence they actually have. I call this the Powerless Loop. And it traps almost everyone who gets promoted without understanding one critical distinction. There are two kinds of power in this world: positional power and moral authority. Positional power is what the organization gives you. It's your title, your place on the org chart, your ability to hire, fire, approve budgets. It's authority that exists because of your position. Moral authority is what you earn. It's influence that comes from your character, your competence, your trustworthiness. It's the power that makes people choose to follow you, not because they have to, but because they want to. And here's what I learned the hard way with my son, and what that VP was about to learn. Positional power without moral authority is completely meaningless. You can give orders all day long, but if people don't respect you, your words are just noise. So let me walk you through the powerless loop, because once you see it, you'll recognize it everywhere. Stage 1, you get promoted. You now have positional power. Stage 2, you assume that power equals influence, so you start making decisions, giving orders, expecting compliance. Stage 3, people resist. Not openly, that's the trap. They comply on the surface. They say yes in the meeting, but then they sabotage underneath. Passive-aggressive delays, minimum effort, quiet resentment. Stage 4, you interpret their resistance as incompetence or laziness, so you increase control. More meetings, more check-ins, more micromanagement. If they won't do it right on their own, I'll make them. Stage 5, the tighter you grip, the more they slip through your fingers. Your authority becomes an empty shell. You have the title, but you're powerless to actually change anything. And you're stuck, frustrated, exhausted, wondering why leadership feels so hard. Now here's where most leadership advice gets it completely wrong. They'll tell you to communicate better, to build rapport, to be more charismatic. But that's just putting makeup on a broken paradigm. The real problem isn't how you're leading, it's where you're trying to lead from. You're trying to lead from your position instead of your character. And that's why you're stuck in the powerless loop. Let me show you what I mean. That VP I mentioned, after 30 seconds of silence, he finally answered my question. The question was, if you lost your title tomorrow, would anyone still listen to you? He said, no, probably not. And that's when he understood. His entire leadership strategy was built on his position, not on who he was. And the moment people stopped fearing his authority, his influence evaporated. I told him what I'm about to tell you. Influence doesn't flow from position, it flows from character. And character is built on 4 pillars. Miss any one of them and your influence collapses. The first pillar is competence, but not the kind of competence you think. Most people confuse credentials with capability. They think, I have the degree, I have the certification, I have the resume, therefore I'm competent. But real competence isn't about what's on paper, it's about what you can actually do. Can you solve problems others can't solve? Do you show up prepared? Do you deliver results consistently? Are you continuously improving your craft? I once worked with an executive who had an MBA from a top school, 15 years of experience, and an impressive title. But everyone on his team knew he was out of his depth. He couldn't answer basic questions about the business. He made decisions without understanding the data. His competence was a facade. And because of that, nobody trusted him. His title meant nothing. Competence isn't optional. It's the foundation. If you're not genuinely excellent at what you do, no amount of charisma or connection will save you. The second pillar is consistency. And this is where most people destroy their own influence without realizing it. You can be brilliant on Tuesday and chaotic on Thursday. You can preach integrity but cut corners when it's convenient. You can be kind to people's faces and cruel behind their backs. And people notice. Consistency means your behavior matches your words. It means when you say you'll do something, it gets done. It means your principles don't change based on your mood or the pressure you're under. I worked with a CEO who was wildly inconsistent. One day he'd praise someone publicly, the next day he'd humiliate them in a meeting. His team never knew which version of him would show up. And because of that inconsistency, they stopped trusting him. His influence evaporated. Here's the truth. People can forgive a lot of things, but they cannot trust inconsistency. If you're unpredictable, you're powerless. The third pillar is caring. Real caring, not the performative kind. People can tell the difference between someone who genuinely cares about them and someone who's using them to advance an agenda. You can be competent and consistent, but if people believe you're just using them as a stepping stone to your next promotion, they'll never give you their best effort. Genuine caring shows up in small daily actions, remembering someone's name, asking about their family, listening without interrupting, celebrating their wins, supporting them during hard times. It's what I call deposits in the emotional bank account. Every act of kindness is a deposit. Every act of selfishness is a withdrawal. And if your account is overdrawn, you have no influence, no matter how impressive your title is. The fourth pillar is courage. And this is the one most people miss entirely. Real influence requires the courage to do what's right, even when it's unpopular. If you only tell people what they want to hear, you're not leading, you're performing. I've watched leaders destroy their influence because they were so desperate to be liked that they never took a stand. They agreed with everyone. They avoided difficult conversations. They let problems fester because addressing them felt uncomfortable. But here's the paradox. People don't respect leaders who never challenge them. They respect leaders who care enough to tell them the truth. Courage, principled, character-driven courage, is what separates real influence from cheap popularity. Now here's what happened to that VP. After our conversation, he stopped trying to control his team. He started building these 4 pillars instead. He admitted where he lacked competence and asked for help. He started keeping small commitments religiously. He began having one-on-one conversations where he just listened. And he started having the courage to challenge bad ideas, even when it made him unpopular. It took 6 months, but slowly, everything changed. His team started coming to him with ideas instead of avoiding him. His peers started seeking his input. His boss started trusting his judgment. He didn't get another promotion. His title didn't change, but his influence grew exponentially. And one day he called me and said, "Stephen, I finally understand. I spent 3 years trying to lead from my position. It got me nowhere. Now I'm leading from my character, and people actually follow." Let me tell you what happened with my son. After that piano incident, I realized I'd been making the same mistake at home that leaders make at work. I was trying to parent from my position instead of my character. So I stopped demanding compliance and started building trust. I started keeping small promises. I started listening to him, really listening, instead of just waiting for my turn to lecture. I started admitting when I was wrong. It took time, but eventually something shifted. He started coming to me with problems, not because he had to, because he wanted to. And one day, about a year later, I heard him playing piano. Not because I told him to, because he chose to. That's the difference between positional power and moral authority. One gets compliance, the other gets commitment. So here's what I want you to understand. If you feel powerless right now, if you feel like people don't listen to you, don't respect you, don't follow your lead, it's not because you lack authority. It's because you're trying to lead from the wrong place. You're trying to lead from your position instead of your character. And positional power is the weakest form of influence there is. It might get compliance, but it never gets commitment. Real influence, the kind that lasts, the kind that actually changes things, comes from who you are, not what title you hold. Let me leave you with the question that changes everything. If you lost your title tomorrow, if the organization took away your position, your authority, your ability to hire and fire, would people still listen to you? Would they still seek your advice? Would they still value your opinion? Would they still choose to follow you? If the answer is yes, you have influence. If the answer is no, all you have is position. And position without influence is just an empty shell. The powerless loop traps people who try to lead from position. The path to real influence starts with character. Build competence, be consistent, care genuinely, lead courageously. Do that, and you won't need a title to change the world. Now I want to hear from you. Leave a comment and tell me honestly, do you have authority or do you have influence? And if you're ready to escape the powerless loop, share this with someone who needs to hear it, because the people trapped in positional power don't even know they're trapped. Hit subscribe if you want more principle-centered wisdom like this. I'll see you in the next one.